Now, there are three things that single people you need to know if you're going to have a marriage that will work. Okay? And I like to speak to single people because you still have a chance. When you're married, let me tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody. Do we have an agreement? When you're married, when you have problems in your marriage, they'll tell you to go and pray. I'm telling you, I'm a counselor. We will do all this. So how does that make you feel? So how does that make you feel? So how does that make you feel? At the end of the day, they'll tell you to go and pray. Go home and submit or pray. That's all they'll tell you. But when you are single, you still have a chance to get it right. And if it's not working, you don't have to sit there and kill yourself. You can take your bags and leave because you are still dating. But when you're married, it's a lot more difficult than that. There are children involved. Families are involved. There's an auntie who loves him. There's an uncle who loves him. There's somebody who gave money in your family. Then they are rooting for him. Even though, I'm telling you, it gets a lot more complicated than you're thinking. By the time you think about how to split up your finances, how to get a new lease on the house, by the time you think about all of that, you just say, you know what, it's not that bad after all. It's just a few slaps. Let me just stay here. So for single people, you need to get it right. So there are three things you need to know if you're a single person. Number one, if you're going to get it right in marriage, you have to first start by being the right person. If you're sitting by a single person, tell them you have to be the right person. Every time I think about the story of Adam and Eve, Adam saw Eve and said, this is now bone of my bones. This woman was taken from me. This thing came out of me. I ask all the time, single people when they want to get married, I ask them, if they decide to take something from you to make your partner, will it be something you like? You know your character. Tell yourself the truth. You know you have bad behavior. You know. All those lying, cheating, sleeping around. Imagine, guys, that they took out of you to make that kind of girl that sleeps around with everything. So for you to find the right person, you have to first be the right person. When single people come to me for counseling, first assignment I give them, when we're doing a clarity session or something, first assignment I give them, tell them to drop a list of what you want from your partner. Take a sheet of paper. If you've never done it before, maybe when you get home, think about doing it, whether you're male or female, okay? Take a sheet of paper, a long sheet of paper, and write on top of that sheet of paper the header, my future spouse. Then start to write all the things you want. Make it a long list. I want them to be kind. I want them to be rich. I want them to be tall. I want them to be hardworking. I want them to be intelligent. I want them to be funny. Write everything you want on that list. When you are done, you're satisfied with that list, I want you to strike off whatever you wrote at the top of that list and write your name there. And ask yourself, if you are the kind of person that you wrote down on that list. Secondly, I need you to ask yourself if the kind of person you want will want you. So it starts from being the right person. You can wish all you want, but you will attract somebody who has similar values like you. God is not going to go out far. It said from Adam, he took from within Adam to make. So if we're really saying that your rib is out there, is your rib really what you want? If it's not, then you need to do something about it. Number two, you need to choose the right person. You can be the right person, but if you choose the right person, you're going to be in big trouble. If you choose the wrong person, you're going to be in big trouble. How did I learn this? Let me tell you. So, when I was much younger, I was the child who always had my head in a book. I always liked to read. I was always reading. And that meant that everything I was either cooking or frying or whatever would get burnt. So my mom was insistent that I would spend time in the kitchen. And I thank God because today I love cooking. So one day, you know, there's a way to fry an omelette. There's a proper way if it's a multiple egg omelette. And so my mom always wanted us to do things by the book. So she would say, if I tell you to fry 4 eggs, I need you to get 2 plates, break each individual egg, check its freshness, then you add it into the bowl where the others are, and then before you whisk and you start frying. And that's the right way to do it, right? But because I wanted to go back to what I was doing, so one day she just called me, I need you to come and fry an egg. I was like, okay. So I just thought about it. Why should I have 2 dishes? That means I wash 2 dishes. That means this is stressful. I just break everything into one and just fry the egg. And I thought, nobody thought about this. I'm very smart. So I brought one dish out, broke the first egg, perfect. Broke the second one in, perfect. Broke the third one in, perfect. Broke the fourth one. It was rotten. What did you do? It spoils the rest of the egg. So I had it bad. I couldn't make that omelette because it would have turned out to be a bad omelette. It's the same thing in marriage. It takes 2 good people, 2 godly people to have a godly marriage. So no matter how good you are, no matter how loving you are, no matter how kind you are, you cannot go out there and pick just anyone. You still have to pick someone who has the same values as you do. Because if not, you are still going to end up with a bad marriage. And let me tell you, marriage takes 2 people. Marriage is too heavy for one person to carry. It takes 2 willing partners, 2 people that are interested, 2 people that are invested to make a marriage work. I've sat down in counseling rooms and I feel my heart is broken for women when they come in, especially women, because men can find comfort in work. Women, we find comfort in family. We're created that way. We're the ones that are interested. I was having a conversation with Pastor Kate today as we're coming out about someone who he had a child with special needs, and the man just abandoned the child. And so I was saying to him, "How do you abandon your own child?" Pastor Kate was like, "I don't understand. Why would he be interested? The child has his problem now. So why you think?" And I just felt to myself, why do men think like that? They can just detach from anything that isn't working. And it's the way their mind is created, right? They have to focus on something. And if I'm going to focus on something, might as well be on something that is working. Okay? Makes sense to them, but doesn't make sense to a woman. How do you abandon your child? What do you mean by it's not working? So you move on to something else. But that's just how men are. So they sit in counseling rooms with me, and I see women, okay? And the women are saying, "Oh, my husband doesn't love me. My husband doesn't do this. We're trying to make it work. And the woman just goes on and on. And the man has this blank look, like he wants to be somewhere else. And then I'm saying, "Are you not interested in this?" And the man is like, "But I'm here." He's there, but he's not there, right? Even when I talk to some people, because I'm an infidelity recovery specialist, so I sit with people who are going through infidelity, and we're trying to work on it. And there's this particular couple that walked in, and those people I find very fascinating till tomorrow. And they're sitting down, and the woman goes on and on about how the man cheated, what he did, and all the things. She's just telling me all the stories, and she's crying and everything. And I said to the man, "Your wife is crying. Do you see what this is causing her?" And the man goes, "But I didn't cheat on her disrespectfully." That was the first time I heard that there's disrespectful cheating. I didn't know there was disrespect. He said, "I've never brought any of the women home. I could have." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So is that validating? He said, "No, but I'm still better." He started listing his neighbors. "I'm still better than Mr. So-and-so who brought his Mr. And so I asked her, were there signs? And she said yes. She was always the girl who was fighting other girls off him. So the thing is, she thought he would change. Marriage doesn't change anybody. You need to get it right from the start. Every time I tell people, see, marriage won't change. A lizard will not turn to a crocodile in marriage. It will just be a married lizard. So once someone has shown you their true colors or shown you who they are, believe them. Don't say, "Oh, I'm going to change him," or he hasn't met a girl like me. Famous last words. So the first thing, single people, is to be the right person. The second thing is to choose the right person, okay? You can either marry a prayer partner or you can marry a prayer point. It's up to you. You make that decision.